and kill
and
them.
then they go, instead of capturing them and turning them over to the government or eliminating them,
They kill them.
take care of them, and they've recruited and taken care of a few young mutants that way.
By murdering them.
And no.
Hi there, and welcome to Hav and Charles Talk Comics. I am your host, Charles Herring, and I am here with my very good friend, Javier Gonzalez, who is my co-host and y'all's personal favorite on this pod. Hi, Hav. How you doing?
Hey, Charles. How are you?
I'm doing fine, thank you. I am pleased to announce, after the fiasco last pod, that Hav is actually wearing pants this evening. He made sure to show me. I was not comfortable with it, but he did that anyway. But he has got pants on.
Well, pants, I mean, banana hammock counts as pants, right?
Hey, you want to give it away, that's fine. I'm just happy that you have your
I'm
unmentionables covered.
I'm wearing cargo shorts. I'll have everybody know.
Oh, I think it'd be better if you were wearing a banana hammock there, dude.
Yeah,
Cargo shorts.
Yeah, 1997, it wants her shorts back, and I got them.
Hey, you're married. You don't have to worry about how you look now.
Okay, sure.
All right, so today we're going to be talking about two comics for a change. Wait, no, that's not a change. It's exactly what we do every time.
It's crazy talk. Hey, real fast though, before you jump into it, I do appreciate that, at least in your opinion, I'm the fan favorite as opposed to you, because it's really a 50-50 toss-up. It's not like they got a lot of choices here. I guess somebody could say, you know what? No, Caesar, bring every episode should be a special episode. But okay, go ahead. I'm ready to jump in if you are.
I think every episode is a special episode.
Aw. Me too, now that you say that.
Okay, so the two comics we are going to discuss today are one that is near and dear to my heart and one that Hav suggested. The one that Hav suggested...
Go ahead. No, I'm fine.
The one that Hav suggested is actually by one of my favorite comic book writers, and it's The Incredible Hulk, but it's in the 80s.
Yeah,
so
it is.
There's y'all know how I feel about 80s comics. I feel like I did not have good taste when I was in junior high, which, I mean, if you saw how I dressed, you'd know that to be true.
Hey, I had pretty sure I had a Kenny Loggins poster on my wall at some point in the 80s. So yeah, me too. Not the greatest, maybe.
Danger Zone.
Yeah, but it wasn't even it was like his Vox.
No,
Vox Humanitor.
No, I'm just saying that's just a Danger Zone. I'm not just gonna touch that.
I thought you were talking about a song, Danger Zone.
Well,
did you do that on purpose?
I did that on purpose.
Okay, good.
But I just wanted to.
Hands off. Just keep on talking.
Yes.
Let's talk comic books.
Well, no, I just want you to know that who you were in junior high, you shouldn't be ashamed of.
No.
And if you feel that you need to come out as an adult, I think you should know you're supported and surrounded by friends.
What do you mean, as a Kenny Loggins fan?
Sure, we'll go with that. Anyway,
yeah.
So.
Okay. No, I did enjoy me some Kenny Loggins.
Okay, that's fine. I don't know. That's just weird.
Yeah, it was. You know what? I remember it was a free poster giveaway.
That makes much more sense.
And I didn't have a lot of posters. I also had like a World Cup Mexico, that 82 poster. I didn't have a lot of posters up in my room.
Okay. I thought you said
my brother was much more of a poster guy.
Okay.
And then I always had the Empire Strikes Back framed poster, movie poster.
Awesome.
That my uncle gave me.
That's cool.
Anyways, so.
And that's your least favorite Star Wars movie, right?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, as you very well know, sir, quite the opposite. No, I did suggest Incredible Hulk starting with issue 331, when I will, the great Peter David began a very 100-issue plus run on Incredible Hulk, I want to say, is what I read somewhere, maybe in the preface that he wrote to this collection, which is Marvel Visionaries, and it was on the Hoopla. And Hoopla, of course, is where you can get stuff free.
From the public library. Now, not every public library has Hoopla, but those that do, well, I don't even know how many that does, but the Dallas Library definitely has one, and is a proud supporter of the Dallas Library, since they're proud supporters of us. I highly recommend anyone living in the Dallas area get a library card.
Yeah, it's real easy. Yeah, and the collected volume, this is actually a hard volume too, hard copy volume, Hulk Visionaries, Peter David Volume 1, which collected issues 331 to 339. And the issue before Peter David began on it, this artist started on it, penciler that eventually would apparently make something of himself, started doing the drawings on it, named Todd McFarlane. And of course, everybody knows he and a bunch of other artists, right? I don't know if there were any writers.
Mostly artists. Yes.
Broke off in the very early 90s and made Image. And of course, his big creation there was Spawn. So I remember, well, and then you suggested, hold on. So chronological order, we're going to do Incredible Hulk first because the first issue of that came out in May 1987.
So it just slightly beat Gwenpool, which, good Lord, I'm going to do that all night. Spider-Gwen. We're doing Spider-Gwen. It's another Gwen, and I love her as much as I do Gwenpool.
Can you pick favorites?
I can and I will, but it's hard between the two of them because they're kind of completely different type comic book characters.
Yeah.
Gwenpool is my absolute favorite of this new group of comic characters that aren't really even a legacy thing because she is really kind of her own thing, even though you could say, oh, Deadpool, but not really because her name is literally Gwenpool and she's from our universe technically into the 616.
Right.
We should really read that comic and oh, never mind, we did that.
That's right, we did.
You do know that is our number one most downloaded.
Really?
Yes. Gwenpool and Batman.
Oh, okay. It's because of the Batman
the
thing.
Beast, except, hold on, we've read a couple other Bat things. You cannot tell me that is number one because of Batman 10
KG
Nights
Beast.
And the KG Beast. Come on.
KG Beast, man. Who knew?
Evidently, that is just
key word. No, maybe you're right. Gwenpool, Deadpool, who knows?
I have no idea. That just blows my mind that it's that one. And I've always kind of thought it was Batman, except today I was thinking about it. I just uploaded earlier this evening the podcast dropping tomorrow.
Gotcha.
And so I was looking at the analytics again, and it's still sitting up there. Now it's only number one by like 3 or 4 downloads, but it's been up at the top 4
consistently.
Yeah, it's just funny.
Yeah,
so.
It was great. Well, this is Spider-Gwen, not Gwenpool. Spider-Gwen, which in her universe is Spider-Woman, which I think is confusing because my little brain has trouble handling weird differences like that because of whatever. This came out in April of 2015, issue number 1, written by Jason Latour, is what I'm going to say. Art and cover by Javier Rodriguez. So, and pretty good.
Are you pronouncing the first name correctly?
Javier Rodriguez.
I'll defer to you on how to pronounce that name.
Whatever. That's why I go by Hav because I hate people butchering it. So, anyways, hey, I really enjoyed it, but let's talk about the Hulk. Let's talk.
Oh, you want to back that truck up? You really enjoyed it. So you got past the first 2 episodes, though. Motherfucker.
Issue.
You got past the first 2 issues. I'm glad to see. I'm glad to see my issue has. I have to tell you, Hav and I had a chat on the phone about almost a week ago, and we both admitted we were having trouble getting started on the Hulk because the first comic was not very good. The second comic wasn't very good. And then I will be perfectly blunt, it got really good.
It got better.
Yeah.
It was really hard getting through because, so guess what? Incredible Hulk, he started with issue 331 and he was trying to wrap up a lot of loose ends, trying to set up stuff for his, monumental long run, which he was definitely doing. But it was a little bit of a struggle. And when you get a few issues in, the reason I remember this run and picked it up periodically, not, as opposed to a lot of times, not because of the art, I really like the writing. And then a few issues in, X Factor appears. And I had started as a middle schooler at the supermarket or the Walden Books or wherever there was a spinner rack. I was picking up X Factor. And then lo and behold, I see X Factor on the cover of Incredible Hulk. I'm like, cool. I'm going to pick that up. And that's when I started reading every once in a while this. And then, I don't know if you noticed, at the end of this run, the next one is the teaser at the very bottom of the last page is Enter Wolverine or something. And that's the iconic cover. Go ahead.
I not only noticed that, I went to Marvel Unlimited and I pulled it up. I'm probably going to read that too because they were teasing it and then it ended. And I'm like, son of a bitch, I want to read the one with Wolverine. Because I got this far.
Right.
One of the things that I liked immediately going in after those, and you are right, that he was cleaning up everything that came before, trying to get his own grasp on the character, trying to have the character. Well, one of the things he had to do was he had to take Rick Jones's Hulk away from him because the character Rick Jones had been Bruce Banner had been in a nutrient bath that then transferred his Hulk essence into Rick Jones, and Rick Jones was turning into the Hulk only at night. And at this point, Banner wasn't, but in order to help him, Banner decided to expose himself again to gamma rays.
On a machine.
On a machine.
But then you find out that the Hulk subconsciously was influencing him?
Yes.
You remember that? Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
there's all sorts of weird stuff. So in the beginning of this, he really is trying to set up so Bruce Banner's back with the Hulk. And this is where we get what's called the Gray Hulk, which is original. The original Hulk was gray.
Right.
And at the original time, he turned into the Hulk at night. He was Bruce Banner during the day. Night and day. It was a real Jekyll and Hyde kind of thing without drinking a potion. And he was really clear in his intro to this visionary thing that he was writing about that he feels when people would complain about it and go, what are you doing? He's like, no, I'm writing the original Hulk, and I've written more of the original Hulk than anybody else, because the Gray Hulk is like that. And it is actually nice because the Gray Hulk talks in full sentences. He's not a good guy. He's really a bad guy. But after he gets through kind of this stuff, it becomes really back to the roots of what the Hulk was sort of in the first few issues, which is a horror comic. It is an old school horror comic, and they had a lot of horror tropes in this arc that we read. They had, it would start out with what was it? The first good comic, I think it was comic 3 of this run, was the woman was getting beat by her husband.
Yeah, that was rough.
Who turns out to be the sheriff of the town, who then arrests Bruce Banner for being drunk and disorderly because the Gray Hulk is trying not to get caught and have by the Gamma crew, whatever.
Gamma base?
The Gamma base. So he's putting him in positions where he can't get back to the Gamma base, which is kind of all of that stuff is funny. So when I started reading the first 2 issues, I legitimately thought, oh my gosh, this is going to be terrible. And then I enjoyed a lot of it. I'm gonna caveat this a little bit. Couple of things. One, 80s comic. So good Lord, the denseness of the text reminds me of this podcast. It's a lot of talk without anything going on.
Yeah, there is a lot of that.
Yes. And then I'm not a big horror comic guy, and I'm not a horror movie guy. This at least is within the horror genres that I like a little bit. There's some mysticism in it, and then it's more of the comeuppance for the evil entity, as opposed to some of the horror comics when it's the comeuppance for the person that was bad. So,
or kids having sex when there shouldn't be, when they're,
No, that's slasher films. That's slasher.
Well,
different.
Okay, I see what you're saying. But I'm glad you started liking it more. A couple notes you hit there. The preface that Peter David wrote was, I thought, exquisitely hilarious.
Yes.
He talks about nobody was interested in Incredible Hulk. They were searching for somebody. He was on the outs. I forget. It's been a little while since I read this. Go ahead. Do you remember why he was on the outs?
He was on the outs because he was in sales and he wanted to be a writer, and someone had put him on the Spider-Man book, and they did not. The other editors and the main people he didn't understand. He said there was always a problem between the artistic side and the sales side, which he always thought was stupid because y'all want the same things. You want success. So I don't get why we're fighting. But he wrote Spider-Man and they didn't like it. They didn't want this sales guy, from what I could tell, writing Spider-Man. So the Hulk, he knew nobody gave a crap about the Hulk, which is pretty much the life of the Hulk most of the time. Nobody cared. Because the TV show, as he put it, the TV show was long over. There wasn't that much interest in it. So
yeah, well, and then he also funnily talks about, I thought very humorously, says, and there's this artist, in his opinion, he looked at some of his stuff. He's like, he wasn't a very good storyteller, but heck, I can work with him. I'll help him. And he's talking about McFarlane. And look, I haven't really read a comic book with art by Todd McFarlane in a really long time. And I read some of the Amazing Spider-Man back then too. I was never one of those that was like, oh my God, this is awesome. And this was, I mean, I don't mind his Hulk, but the other characters, and it's a very unique style. It's very distinctive, and you can tell who it is. It was good. It was good. I wouldn't say great, and that's me saying that. I'm usually the one to go there, but it was okay to good.
It's okay. It's okay comic books, but at times Bruce Banner wouldn't have a shirt on, and Bruce Banner was jacked. Not in good shape. He was jacked. He was Superman jacked. It's just every single male character was just ridiculously jacked.
Yeah.
And every woman was a perfect hourglass figure, and no, it was definitely it's definitely a style. But no,
I'll even go so far. Eric Larson, who ended up doing Savage Dragon and had a run after McFarlane on Spider-Man, I like his art better. Very distinct style. Some people think it's very similar to McFarlane. I don't. I'm just thinking of the Image guys. Jim Lee, I like better. A lot of contemporaries and probably predecessors that go back to Bronze Age and even Silver Age, I like better. So it was okay. Again, everybody's got their own take on the Hulk. So I didn't mind his Hulk.
The best art in that run was the one he didn't draw. It was on that Phantom Stranger issue.
Right, that weird one. Speaking of, they showed the art was pretty good, and it was they actually referenced Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde as one of the movies he's watching.
That whole thing was an incredible, that was probably my favorite comic out of that run, because
it one standalone issue. And then you also had what was else I was going to say about that issue? Oh shoot, I'm forgetting. Anyways, no, I did enjoy that issue.
That was pure. It was a pure horror comic from the woman. The whole premise of that particular comic was it is a young lady, and this phantom stranger enters her room to kill her, and she runs out and he slashes her eyes, and she runs out into the street and runs into the Gray Hulk, who decides to protect her, even though I will say there's some proof that Banner is in there coercing him, because he talks a good game about being completely evil, and he's a bad person, and he keeps protecting women, and he keeps doing all sorts of things like that. And
go ahead, sorry.
And that whole comic was just a wonderful old school horror comic from beginning to end. And that's the one where the Hulk Banner figures out who it might be, and follows this guy to his house, and it's this young gas pump attendant, and he watches horror movies, and he pops in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, and at the window is Bruce Banner, and it is just an amazing little art scene, as on the screen, the TV screen, Dr. Jekyll is drinking the potion and turning into the Hyde. Behind him on the window, coming through the window, you see, as the sun goes down, Bruce Banner turning into the Gray Hulk.
Yeah.
And it was just awesome.
Full page, kind of thing, splash page. That art was done by John Ridgway. I have it pulled up. And it was just good. Oh, and then of course the young guy that when he goes to sleep, gets drunk and passes out, this Night Stalker, phantom stranger, but evil thing starts coming out. My only nitpick about that is you never really get he's just a bad guy that preys on fear, but the Hulk's not afraid of him kind of thing. He actually ends up being afraid of the Hulk. So,
well, the Hulk does kill him. So,
well, and the kid ends up in a coma at the end, because that weird, Night Stalker ghost thing is eliminated. Oh, going back also to what you said about the Gray Hulk. So they do this whole thing where they reintroduce the leader, one of the big bads for the Hulk, who is gamma radiated as well, but instead of getting big and brawny, he gets big and brainy, and he's got the oversized head, but he's gone away because apparently his gamma radiation wore off and he turned back into normal intelligence guy, and he wants his gamma intelligence back. Anyways, he gets his gamma intelligence back by stripping it away from Rick Jones, and they do that, and that's something Peter David does right away early on in the first couple issues, and he's going to come back, but you can tell Peter David didn't want Rick Jones to be the Hulk. He wanted Gray Hulk, and he wanted the leader back. Makes sense. But he also retcons a little bit that, I don't know if you remember this part, where the leader's explaining to the Hulk, or maybe to Bruce Banner, I forget, that when he was irradiated, it was the first time a gamma blast had been done outside, and so there was a mixture of sun and gamma rays, and that's why during the day he's more, if there is a Hulk during the day, he's more sedate or laid back, and sometimes not, and that's why this iteration, daytime's generally Banner, nighttime's generally Hulk. And then the Hulk is more passive when it's a full moon, because the sun's reflecting off the moon, and he goes into do you remember that? It was a long explanation. There are a lot of words on the page.
It was dumb.
He could have just left it night and day and not said anything, right?
They're trying.
But there was a lot of explanation for it.
They're trying to explain why he doesn't turn, because remember, this is years after the TV show. And for the longest time, Bruce Banner turns into the Hulk when he gets angry. You wouldn't like me when I'm angry.
Right.
And so he's trying to explain why this Hulk is different. Although it doesn't really make sense. It's just the gray Hulk. It's just whatever the narrative needs and whatever reason a writer can come up to make the comic book act that way.
And if you do make Banner angry, the Hulk will come out, by the way, as the sheriff finds out when he's locked up during the day, remember?
Well, no, they explained that.
What did they explain? I don't see it again.
They...
Was it nighttime when that happened?
Yeah, they moved the clocks, remember? Because they used the move the clocks things twice.
That's right. Okay, sorry. You're right. Okay, never mind. You're right.
I know. Does it ever get tiring saying that?
No.
Okay,
it doesn't,
good.
Really. It really doesn't. So also going back to the Gray Hulk at the beginning of Hulk comic book, like back from the 60s.
Yeah.
I remember reading, I did not have time to do any research or take a lot of notes, but I remember reading about that. One of the reasons they switched the Hulk from gray to green was in the early issues. For whatever reason, the coloring, the gray would be a different gray, sometimes not even issue to issue, sometimes page to page. And it was driving the creatives and the publisher crazy. And finally they said, let's just green. We can make him green. It's a more of a standard color. And I remember reading that's one of the reasons. It wasn't any kind of thing to not make him gray. And it was a big deal. It was just like, look, he's going to be green from now on. We're having trouble with the coloring process. I don't know. I remember reading that. I thought that was interesting.
Interesting. I thought it was a money issue. I thought it was more, it costs less to use the green ink. But that doesn't, although that, I don't even know. I know something about printing, so that's ridiculous too, because it's the color process on the comics.
Four colors.
Yeah, you're making it, whether you're it's insane that I even thought that would be the reason. But yeah, that makes more sense. They were having trouble keeping it. Because it's not like back in the 60s when they were running those comic books, the printing presses and the printing they were doing on those were that great.
Yeah.
It's gotten a lot better when you buy a comic now.
A little bit. Well, it's not on newsprint anymore, you know, although I do miss the smell sometimes of the newsprint comic. What else? Oh, the Gray Hulk eventually, again, no research. Doesn't he eventually start going by like Mr. Fix-It? Do you remember that at some point in the late 80s, early 90s?
I think he does at some point. He's in
the mob.
Yeah,
right?
in the mob in Vegas. He works in Vegas.
Okay, that's what I thought.
There's some weird stuff in comics. Comics are awesome.
Yeah. So at the beginning of this, it's still all gamma based. You still have Quartermain. Is it Alan Quartermain? It's something Quartermain.
Yeah, Alan Quartermain.
Yeah, and then you got LaCroix or
LaCroix.
And then you got, I'm blanking on the names.
Yeah, you got a bunch of Hulk busters.
Martel.
Yeah, I don't know any of their names. They were background and they broke that up.
Hideko.
And they broke that group up pretty quick. So,
again, you could tell that something like Peter David was like, I'm done with this.
He wanted the Hulk on the road, solving crime and looking for his wife who had run off with her ex-husband that no one
was
had
that
ever
from
heard
the
of.
old comics, or was that something he brought in? Ramon, the Latin lover?
Dude, I have no idea.
That pulls a switchblade on the gamma base guard.
Dude,
won't let him in. I'm pulling. Hey, let's go West Side Story here. SA, boom, pulls the steel. I'm like, really? Ramon's got a switchblade with the mustache, with the pencil mustache. Oh, maybe a ponytail. I want to say for some reason, if he didn't have a ponytail,
he had a ponytail. He may have had a ponytail. I don't.
Oh my gosh, it was so weird.
No, it was a choice, and
it was.
He went with it, and it was the late 80s. People didn't know any better. Oh wait, no, they did. Anyway,
well, so that's about the same time we're getting Vibe in Justice League of America too.
They're just trying to include other.
At least you're trying to. No, maybe they're like, hey, look, we threw a Hispanic person, a Latino in there. Pat on the back for everybody. Good job, everybody. High five. Let's go get some tacos.
Ooh.
Anyways,
I want to go get some tacos. Oh, I can do that after the podcast.
Yeah, we can do that. Well, maybe on Tuesday.
You know what? Every night is Taco Tuesday in my heart.
Boom. Boom. Well said. Somebody should put that on a poster. Maybe a t-shirt.
I'll be right on it.
So, what did you think of the...
Hold on. I legitimately want to know what the fuck is going on with is it Betty Ross?
His name was Ramon.
No, I don't give a fuck about Ramon. I give a...
You want to know more about Ramon, don't you?
No, I want to know more about his fucking wife and where the fuck she went. I mean, because she goes off with him. Well, first you have to understand, too, there was the Bruce Banner and it's Betty Ross?
Betty Ross.
Betty Ross. They had the fuck scene.
Oh yeah, they did.
And because of the
nighttime thing.
No, because
and getting aroused.
No, because they set the goddamn clocks back. They didn't know what time the sun was going down. So he turned into the Hulk with her, and she clearly got injured. They didn't say what happened to her, but she ended up in the hospital.
Well, and the room is trashed.
And the room is trashed. So, and the Gray Hulk thinks he hurt her. He didn't mean to, because they were cuddled on the bed when he turned into the fucking Hulk. Mm-hmm. And that could be a problem. So she leaves the hospital with Ramon, and then they go off to New Orleans, and it was really weird because she goes to take a shower, and then he starts complaining that she's been in there so long, and then he breaks down the door and she's gone. So what the fuck was he doing to her that she thought she couldn't leave? So this is I want to know what's going on with Betty Ross.
Yeah. I don't know. And and that's why I was wondering, I didn't read a bunch of this. I just remember reading issues here and there. Was Ramon a character that
I think
Peter David introduced? Was this an old character that he brought back and decided apparently Betty got married and they didn't wrap that up, but I'm going to take it and run? All sorts of questions.
I suspect that is Peter David pulled that out of his ass.
That's what I was thinking too. Because also at the beginning, General Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross is dead from the last issue. And he kind of just like, okay, General Ross is dead. And Betty's grieving, and Bruce is just like, he's more concerned about Rick and the Hulk.
In fairness, Ross is a prick. So I can see where
still Betty's dead.
But he's particularly a prick to Bruce Banner.
Well, he's known that he's the Hulk for a long time.
Well, he was a prick to Bruce Banner before he became the Hulk.
Okay, I know, but it's still her daddy died. Her father died. So guess what? Maybe Bruce could be a little bit more. I'm just saying. But I think there's even reference that maybe the Gray Hulk inside of Bruce was influencing him to be neglectful. And
sure.
That also influenced him to get on the machine to turn back into the Hulk, which turns into the Gray Hulk. Mm-hmm. Blah 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 blah. But I wanted to ask you what you thought of the X Factor 2-issue crossover. It wasn't even really a crossover because Hulk didn't appear in X Factor back then. What'd you think?
I liked the part with Jean Grey and Iceman.
Okay.
I could have done without the Cyclops shit. No, I'm just kidding. Sorry.
No, I know.
I don't get this whole Exterminators X Factor. I still think it's dumb.
It was dumb. They dropped that pretty darn fast.
Yeah. So. But the whole thing with them going in, I was amused at the Bobby having problems with his powers that they're working through, and backstory. But it's a common that's a comic trope.
Yeah,
malfunctioning powers, and then he just explodes ice in the place and freezes the Gray Hulk. I kind of liked that, and I did like that it ends one issue, and then the next issue, Cyclops is trying to very carefully get an air hole melted so the Hulk doesn't die in there. He's like, we've numbed him, but the dude's got to breathe.
That's actually a good call.
It really was. I liked that. I kind of wonder if they left it there and then they started talking and they're like, we might want to, he probably needs to breathe. Because that's more of a comic thing where they just freeze somebody and then they just thaw him out. And instead...
He's fine.
Yeah, he's a superhero. They're hard to kill. I guess the Hulk's not a superhero.
And when I saw that in that issue, or these issues where Bobby Iceman's having some having problems with his powers, I recall there being a thing where something happened. He interacted with another super where they messed with his powers or something, and he was having trouble controlling them. It was an ongoing issue. And then as for the X Factor, their outward team are the Exterminators. I think it's something ridiculous where to the public they're posing as mutant busters, to use the Hulk busters. That's where they were, Hulk busters, Gamma Base. People call them, and they're using that as a way to find mutants
and kill them.
And then they go, instead of capturing them and turning them over to the government or eliminating them, they take care of them, and they've recruited and taken care of a few young mutants that way
by murdering them.
And no, they don't. They shelter them. And Warren Worthington III, Angel, is financing the whole thing. And just so you know, because you probably weren't reading X Factor back then like I was, I didn't pick it up right at issue 1. It all falls apart real fast, and thankfully, because I think early on the writer and artist changed. And eventually, like by issue 7, it's Louise Simonson writing, and her husband, Walt Simonson, both of them great, by the way, and they do away, speaking of changing things up when somebody new takes over, they do away with all that. Warren's exposed as, because everybody knows he's Angel. It's exposed, and they just come out as, nope, we're X Factor, we're mutants, deal with it. So just a little backstory there.
Okay.
It doesn't last that much longer. It all goes away.
Okay. Well, even in this, when Banner comes back, they're like, well, y'all are the X-Men. Or no, one of the Hulkbusters or somebody. You're X-Men. No, we're X-Factor. Or we're the Exterminators. And it's like, okay. It's too much X position.
Aha!
Well,
I see what you,
yes.
I see what you did there. What else? I don't know.
It was legitimately a fun comic. I laughed at some of Peter David's really bad puns that he would have the Hulk do.
Yeah.
I screenshot some of them
and you can see, I mean, I didn't really go back and look at Peter David's bibliography or anything, but I don't know how much he had written extensively before this, Mm-hmm. Anyways, I just wonder, I feel like this was one of his first big runs, or maybe it was the first big run for him on anything, yeah. So it is just seeing him write in this, and then having read, like we did, X Factor, it's just, you can see how he progressed as a writer.
Well, yeah. The one with the other artist, when he's killing the guy, he says, you can't, the guy says, no, you can't do this. We're two of a kind. And he says, no, we're not. The Hulk says, no, we're not, because you're terrified, not me. I just terrify. I mean, that was the... Oh, it was good. No, I read that wrong. Now, me, I just terrify. Whatever, same thing. But some of these were, I mean, good Lord. Yes, when he ripped the arms off of the dead man thing. Your arms and legs, they're still holding on. How? Ugh, obviously I'm a man of parts. You really like stupid jokes, huh? Well, the joke's on you. You've just been disarmed.
Yes, there you go. I do remember that.
I mean,
it's like, just do a bump.
Yeah. Well, because this guy's looking for. This is a creature that is dead during the day, but he's an alive gamma creature at night, and he's attacking the Hulk, and he wants to kill Banner because this is all Banner's fault. And Hulk calls him crazy, and he goes, crazy, you don't understand anything. I was an English professor. I had friends, students, family, tenure.
Tenure.
I loved that. I had tenure.
I had tenure.
So.
I don't know. It was good.
It was.
Was it as... I didn't read, like I said, it wasn't like it was something I read those couple issues that X Factor in, and every once in a while, and then I read the next issue with Wolverine, and then I think I read a few issues after that, and then I'd pick it up every now and then. But it was all right. It was good. So yeah, there's that.
All right. Well, we don't have mail because no one loves us.
What?
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
So we don't have mail. You can send us mail if you go to havandcharles.com and click the link up at the top to send Hav mail. And we really like it when you give mail. I even kind of like it.
Please. It makes my week.
It really does. It really does excite Hav. It's great.
Really, I mean, this is genuine.
And then that actually makes me happy. My favorite part of mail is surprising Hav with mail because he gets so happy. So,
and I'm a little genuinely disappointed after you know what, that episode hasn't dropped yet.
That's right. Yeah, we begged and pleaded you people last episode.
The next one's going to drop. I kind of just grovel and ask you to send mail because I like it. I really do. It's fun. I know people are listening, and I do. We both appreciate the feedback and the questions.
We'd love to hear from you if you have any suggestions. If you wanna bag on me, knock yourself out. I mean, I'll cry, but not publicly.
Yeah, just
and
by himself.
I spend all of my time by myself crying.
And just hugging his full life-size pillow of Invincible.
Well, sometimes it gets soaked with the tears, so I switch to my Spider-Man full pillow. So
there you go.
You gotta change it up a little bit. It's
right.
We all have our own idea of a perfect threesome.
There you go. So yes, havandcharles.com website. You can get links to listen to the podcast there. You can send email. Charles's Twitter is at herringredreel. That's the Twitter. My Twitter is havgonzotweets. And then I always get this wrong, but the podcast Twitter handle is J and C Talk Comics.
Yes.
Yeah. And the and is spelled out. No ampersand or anything. It's JANDC Talk Comics. So yeah, there you go. I think that's all you need to know to see what's going on.
If you tune in to my Twitter, I think the latest thing I tweeted was about soup. That's right, it was about soup.
You know what? That is weird. Why?
I don't tweet a lot recently. Why? Because I was thinking about soup, so I tweeted something about soup.
When were you thinking about soup? And I have a reason for asking this.
I think it was last night. I think I tweeted last night about soup.
I shit you not. The other night I wasn't feeling great, and I remember thinking, because I was having some tummy problems, I woke up yesterday, and Julie was going to make a run to the store, and I said, hey, you know what? I haven't had soup in a while. Would you pick me up? I shit you not. And she picked up like 3 cans of soup because we had and we did have a can of tomato soup, but it was just really, okay, I'm sorry, that's just a weird coincidence. I'm just going to put that out there.
You want me to read you the tweet? I'm going to read you the tweet.
Go for it.
Because this is what you can get from my Twitter page on rare occasions. Old people okay, here it goes. Old people like soup, not because they're old, but because soup is fucking awesome.
There you go. Done.
Damn it.
True.
Except I didn't write the fucking part. I meant to write the fucking part. Am I cleaner on Twitter than I am in reality? No, I'm not. I just forgot to write the fucking.
Yeah, you did. You sure did.
But it is true. Soup is awesome.
It is. I'll go with that. I have no idea what I tweeted last. I sometimes retweet random things.
This is a pro soup podcast. So all you soup haters,
right?
Go away. I'm just kidding. We need all the listeners we can get.
No, you know what? If you don't like soup, fuck you. Don't listen.
Oh wow, damn.
That's the line in the sand.
That's your line in the sand. You're sounding more like me.
That's my line. Yeah, I'm gonna go hard on that.
That's more my style.
You know what? If you don't like soup, you don't like the sun. You know what? If you don't like air and breathing, you just don't listen to our podcast.
You know what?
That's right.
If you don't like soup, you don't like America, because America was built on soup.
Right? That's so true.
Okay, so we did read another comic.
What?
And it was a comic I suggested.
Huh? We did?
And it was an awesome comic.
Sure it was.
Called Spider-Gwen.
Okay.
And anybody that knows anything about Spider-Man as a whole knows that he was in love with a woman named Gwen Stacy, who was killed.
In issue what? Less than 10? I forget.
No,
it's pretty early on. 20?
Less than 10.
I don't know.
It was
early on.
He didn't even meet Gwen Stacy until very late in Stan Lee and Ditko's run.
Which wasn't that far into it, but go ahead.
Yeah, but I mean, he had to get into college. He met her in college.
Okay, sorry.
And then it went on for a while. No, they didn't. No, Stan Lee had stopped being associated with it when they killed her. Okay. No, because they brought in Gwen Stacy, and then they brought in Mary Jane, and they teased Mary Jane from about issue 5. But so he knew of Mary Jane before he met Gwen Stacy, but he met Gwen Stacy first, and then he met Mary Jane, and then there was a back and forth between the two of them, and
yada yada.
Yeah, it went on for a while, and Stan Lee didn't find out about them killing Gwen Stacy until reporters asked him about it.
That is hilarious.
Yeah, because he
was like, what?
Yeah, he's like, oh no, I'm sure they didn't do that.
They're like, no, they fucking killed her, dude. Broke her back and shit. Just straight up murdered her.
So
neck. Yes, sorry.
So my favorite Spider-Man writer I'm blanking on his fucking name. That's why
Dan Slott.
Dan Slott, thank you. Dan Slott wrote.
That's what I thought.
Yeah, Dan Slott wrote the Spider-Verse in the comics. Now, the Spider-Verse had happened originally in a 90s cartoon, but he wrote a Spider-Verse in the comics, and one of the characters he had in this main Spider-Verse was Spider-Gwen, and she met Peter 616. Her tragic backstory is after she got spider powers, her best friend who lived next door, Peter Parker, wanted to be like Spider-Woman and became the Lizard, and then he died in her arms tonight.
And they did a very good job of showing all that, by the way.
It must have been something she said. Anyway.
I know what you're doing there, 80s song. Go ahead.
So,
good job.
Everybody, so they did the first comic we read was the only one that they were going to do, and it was written by the author that wrote this whole arc we read, and he wrote this one shot leading into the Spider-Verse, kind of introducing some of these characters is what it was. There's a bunch of them that there's just this one comic zero kind of thing, and it's leading into the Spider-Verse, so you know some of these out of different universe Spider-Men and Spider-Women. Due to what went on in the Spider-Verse, Spider-Gwen was like the breakout star of it. And there was a real big, hey, we want more of this character.
Right.
So they brought her back. And it is a really fun, because they don't even really do it. It's not an origin story, because you read that one and it's going on already, and then you come back and she's been Spider-Woman. She's already being chased by Captain Stacy. Has a whole
her dad.
It has a whole task force to stop Spider-Woman who killed that Peter Parker kid. Because and I mean, it's just this whole it's really, really well done. She's friends with Mary Jane. Well, not really friends. They're in a band together. Yeah, they're in a band together. They're the Mary Janes, which I love, and the Black Cat has her own band.
Yeah,
she's a.
Well, there's so much. Okay, go ahead.
Oh man,
keep on going, because you're doing a good job of laying out this whole different universe.
It's just a great fun comic based on kind of stuff you already know. It's this feels familiar, but it's different. So, including the Punisher, I mean, there's a Frank Castle in it, because he has to take over. He takes over the task force, and he's not the Punisher, but he ain't a good guy. He is the Punisher. He's still...
Well, and Ben Parker's not dead in this universe.
That's right. And he loves Gwen, and Gwen feels really bad around the
in the 616, is Gwen Stacy's mom passed away?
Yeah, she's not alive.
Okay, all right. Because I was I was wondering if there was a Ben, an Uncle Ben for her.
No, Peter Parker was her Uncle Ben.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah. I just want to make sure.
That's the thing during the Spider-Verse. They're teaming up and they're sending out things, because 616 Peter Parker is eventually in charge in it. I'm not going to give anything away, but when they're breaking up to do things, he's trying to bench Gwen.
Yeah, and
she got ticked, and they had a bit of a conversation about it, but I lost you, and she's like, I lost you. And it's not in the we love each other, because he's in his that 616 is in his late 20s and she's 19, so it's not like that. It's more of the no, I can't let you die because my Gwen died.
Yeah, she's like, dumbass, so did my Peter did.
Yeah, my Peter died. So yeah, I gotta. I'm not. Yeah, it was great, and of course Spider Ham is in it.
Okay, so that's look. Let me just tell you, that whole when she has her little head injury, she gets
a massive concussion,
and she's seen Spider Ham. And you know what? Speaking of hearing the voice of the person that portrayed the character, I'm hearing Delaney's voice.
Awesome.
The whole time he's talking.
I just washed my hands. That's why they're wet.
Who knew that corn dogs were so great? And she's like, really? Would you stop eating that? It's like cannibalism. No, it's not cannibalism. They're not alive. They'll only be eaten if I was eating a pig that was alive. I mean, it's just, oh my God.
Lord. No, that was great.
It was awesome. It was a good. So yeah.
During this little thing, there's a really good scene where she gets captured. Well, she doesn't get captured, but her father corners Spider-Woman.
Yeah.
And so she unmasks. She's like, all right, here it is. And he obviously lets her go. Not obviously, because some cop dads wouldn't, but he lets her go. And what does he say to her? I screenshotted that. Dang it. I had it pulled up here a second ago. At one point, they're talking on the phone, and she says, it's all I've ever wanted to do. And he says, I know, honey, and the things we love are always worth fighting for.
Yeah.
And I liked that. Oh, so some of the other things, there were is it Hobie Brown was the kid that's spray painting everything?
Yes.
Okay. Well,
no, Hobie Robertson.
Oh, it's Hobie Robertson?
Is I thought for some, maybe I could be wrong about that because I did not take notes.
Okay.
Don't hold me to that.
I just know it was a Hobie. And Hobie Brown is normally he's the Prowler in the 616 and different things. But there's a screen, I took a screenshot of she's on a fire escape, and written on the ground under it, in graffiti is, and you read terrible comics. And I really loved that. So
that is awesome.
Yeah, she fights the Vulture.
Toombs. It took me a second to remember who Toombs was because they started using his name right after the appearance. I was like, I guess that's the Vulture, and it's like, oh yeah, duh.
You didn't?
How did I forget that?
Okay.
From the movie.
Yeah.
Well, you know what?
Well,
Toombs,
no, it was always his name, not just from the movie.
I know, but it was very prominently on display in the movie with Michael Keaton playing the Vulture. But also Toombs, for whatever reason, man, made me think of that X-Files. Wasn't there a bad guy named Toombs that was in an X-Files episode? And he was like that slithery little guy that could squeeze through anything, and it was such a creepy episode. Do you remember that at all?
I think I know of that episode, but I think I've only watched like 6 episodes of X-Files ever.
You shut the front door.
Well, it's already shut. I'm in my house and it's nighttime. Why would I have my front door open? I even have it locked. I'm glad you can see so well about what I say. Aren't you hearing? Shouldn't you say I hear what you did?
Good point. I'm not going to lie to you. It's a very good point.
Yeah. No, one of the first thing when she gets Toombs causes this because she lands in a garbage scow on, I'm guessing, the Hudson.
Yeah.
And she's singing the song that I always sing when I do it, which is Spider-Gwen, Spider-Gwen, sleeping on here, sleeping on the job again.
Yeah.
And she looks up and she sees Peter Parker, and Peter is that, and he's upsy daisy, lazy Swayze. The Vulture's getting away.
Yeah.
So it's awesome. It's just awesome.
That was great. Again, like I think before we started recording, I asked you immediately, the Spider-Verse is that big volume on Hoopla I need to read with like 200, it's big for, I guess, a couple comic. It's only 2 issues, but it doesn't make sense. Maybe it's 2 volumes. Dan Slott's the writer. Spider-Verse.
The Spider-Verse is a gigantic. It's not really. I mean, I think it's across comics because it's
more
Ultimate,
than just
because Ultimate Spider-Man was still on then, so it's across Ultimate Spider-Man. It was through Amazing. It was probably Spider-Woman was in it, so it was through that. And then they released. Sometimes they'll have the main Spider-Verse, but they also released team-ups with the groups. So it is a huge. There's like 50 comics in that, something like that.
Okay, this is not 50 comics then.
Well, I don't know what you're looking at Hoopla, but it is a gigantic. When I got the whole thing. I got the whole thing for my nephew from the library. It was a hardcover, and it was about 4 inches thick.
Yeah,
and because he wanted to. Well, I wanted to make him read it so we could talk about it.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like
654 print pages. That could be it.
That's it. Yes.
Okay. So this is what it is. I'm looking at the right one. 2014-ish, 2015.
Yeah.
Is what it says here.
Yeah. So 2015, because it probably came out in 2014, because this started in 2015. The Spider-Verse probably ended in 2015.
Yeah. The Inheritors begin exterminating spider characters throughout the multiverse. That's okay. Anyway, so I proactively, before we even got it on here, when I finished Spider-Gwen, I was like, there's so many references. I love Spider-Ham. Is Spider-Man Noir in there?
He's in there.
Total. You know what? I think I've told you this before. Probably not on the podcast. I think me and Julie went to the theater to see Spider-Verse the movie. I knew of Spider-Ham from the comic books from way back when, because I was 80s and you'd see it on the stand. I don't think I bought an issue, and I knew of Miles Morales. Spider-Man Noir, not on my radar, and then the voice was killing me throughout the whole movie.
You couldn't figure out who it was.
Because usually I'm really good, like when there's commercial voiceovers, I'm like, that's Brian Cox from Super Troopers, or that's John Hamm as soon as he started doing Mercedes commercials or whatever. And it was driving me crazy. I didn't say anything during the whole movie, and then finally when the credits were rolling, I was like, son of a bitch. Because, of course, when you heard Spider-Ham, you knew exactly, and I didn't read, it wasn't like I was reading about who was going to be in it. But as soon as I heard Mulaney's voice, I was like, cool, they got him to do Spider-Ham. So I'm very excited, by the way, to read Spider-Verse after this, but I'm taken away from Spider-Gwen.
No, you're fine, because they've done a whole arc of Spider-Man Noir. There's a whole comic series on that.
I know. No, I got that one again.
And there's a few issues of the Indian. There's an Indian Peter Parker.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
And he's in it. There is the little girl with the robot.
Nice. That's a great character.
Penny Parker, or whatever her name is. There's that. There's also the giant robot, the Spider-Man with the giant robot that was actually a Japanese TV show. There was a Japanese Spider-Man with a giant robot in Japan.
Yeah, I've seen stuff.
So there's that. There's a Spider-Man who, at some point, Spider-Man had cosmic powers in the 616, and then they go to a universe where he kept them, and he's this cosmic power Spider-Man. Spider-Punk, the Hobie Brown Spider-Punk is in it.
I'm reading.
It's great.
I'm reading the synopsis of all and there's more than this, like Superior Spider-Man.
Oh dear Lord, no! I'm just trying to hit some of the big ones, and they did a web. There's a whole arc after the Spider-Verse where they kept a bunch of them together, and they're jumping around the timelines and doing stuff. And
nice.
It was just great. I was in my just excited oh my god.
Yeah.
It even had the Superior Spider-Man, because when he shows up, there's a scene in Superior Spider-Man where Doc Ock's Spider-Man blips somewhere for a second and then comes right back. Well, in that time, he's actually jumped to the future, or jumped timelines, and he's part of all of this.
Huh.
So he's gone into the future because it's happening in the future. So Peter Parker, the original 616, then ends up in the Spider-Verse, and he and Doc Ock have it off. And it really comes to a point when Doc Ock figures out this Peter Parker is not just the 616, it's from a time past him. Right. So he's like, holy, wait, no, I killed you. How are you here? He comes to this realization. Oh crap. And then he forgets all of that, because comics, when he blips back, they throw him through the hole again and throw him back into his timeline.
Yeah.
And it's gone, because it comes to that head of Spider-Man doesn't kill. And so they have to go down that route. So, and Superior Spider-Man was going to kill, because that's how it go with Doc Ock. So,
yeah, well.
Tell me about, we'll get back to Spider-Gwen. Sorry.
Okay.
You got me all... I got to talk about Spider-Man.
No, that's okay. No, so other big takeaways from this that hey, I want to read more about this universe, or I want to read the Spider-Verse that came before this. There's a really nice, it's a lot of action, which is fine. Of course, there's some words. It's not as wordy as 80s comics, of course, but there's a really touching scene when, apparently for the first time in months, Gwen goes over to the Parkers. And of course, Uncle Ben, or Ben Parker, is all nice and just, great and gregarious. Mm-hmm. And May is not having the best time of it.
Yeah, she lost her boy.
And you kind of get the feeling Gwen's going over there to maybe spill the beans and say, look, I'm Spider-Woman. But then, May starts talking about she's been clipping everything. She got the cameras. Yeah. Jameson got the cameras in front of her, and she blamed Spider-Woman. But since she's been clipping, she's maybe got her wrong. And then she also talks about how Peter was always being bullied and always maybe wasn't well. And you get the feeling that maybe, Peter obviously had some issues because he wanted to be great like Spider-Woman, and fell in love with Spider-Woman to the point where he turns himself into the lizard in this universe, essentially, trying to be like Spider-Woman. It's just a really sad version of Peter that she's painting, because he's obviously bullied. He's obviously nobody's favorite, and him and Gwen were friends, but I don't get the feeling they were boyfriend and girlfriend. She was kind of sticking up for him because he was always being bullied. They have that flashback where, it's just such a sad picture. It's touching, and it was really moving. And I just remember, with all the funny haha, they really good job of bringing it back down to that. So there's that.
And more so in that, what I really liked about it, because yes, she is about to tell her, and she wants to tell her that she's Spider-Woman and that she did not kill Peter. And May doesn't really just say that she got it wrong. She says she's sure. She's seen what Spider-Woman is doing. She's sure he didn't kill him. She wishes Jameson wouldn't be talking about it like that, because she doesn't see how that's possible at this point. So it really took a huge weight off of Gwen, because obviously she grew up around the Parkers, and because it is Uncle Ben was bringing her in, was so excited he got to see her, and he knows what she's going through because Peter's gone. And it was just, you're right.
It was really, well, just the little touches, like he's holding a mug that obviously is hers from their house that has Winnie the Pooh, and it's got Gwenny Pool written on there. I mean, just really sweet touches like that. Reminded me of the part in a different way. I mean, different, obviously, when we read the crossover where Peter goes to the Ultimate Universe and he sees and gets to hang out and sees May and sees everybody.
Well, no, when he sees the Gwen from that universe.
Yeah.
When he about dies, and then she starts screaming at him and throwing shit at him.
Yeah. So there's all that. So okay. So and besides all the other characters we've already, rightfully so. Frank Castle's in this universe. Captain Stacy is not dead. Ben Parker's not dead. Of course, Aunt May. You get Black Cat. You just said her name, Felicia
Hardy.
Felicia Hardy, and she's got her own band, which is kind of cool.
And she gives the Mary Janes the Todd. I screenshotted this because they're going, because Felicia's letting them open for her, and Mary Jane's yelling at the rest of the band going, yes, Felicia Hardy is and always has been a soulless hack with a voice like the devil auto-tuning his farts.
Yeah, nice.
And I was just like, okay, that's awfully awesome. So, but go ahead.
What I really liked in this universe, I never read an evil Matt Murdock Daredevil.
Oh God, the fact that he is the Kingpin's bitch
and relishes it,
sort of,
in his
yes,
and a ninja, and killed Felicia Hardy's dad. Mm-hmm. You know, it was just a nice, like, huh, yeah, hey, in this universe, not so nice. Oh, and then you see that his law partner is part of the force, or maybe the DA.
He's the DA. He works.
He's interacting with Captain Stacy, and because they're talking about the mayor's not going to take off the task force to find Spider. I don't know. It was just
Foggy Nelson.
Foggy Nelson. Thank you. And it's reminded me how much I love the What Ifs issues and the Elseworlds for DC. Just a different take. Same characters with variations and a tweak here, a tweak there. Make somebody evil that's good. Kill this person instead of that person. Now, it's not to say anybody can do it, but it's when done well, like this, it's pretty cool. So yeah, I'm trying to think. So instead of walking, and I'm not saying I'm never going to read anything past this, but again, this all made me want to go back and read the Spider. Oh my God, especially that Spider-Ham section. I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, you know what? One thing I did like, and this is me just going back to the Supergirl, Invisible Girl instead of Invisible Woman. I like that she's Spider-Woman.
Oh yeah, they didn't mess around with that. They called her Spider-Gwen, but they were like, Spider-Woman. They call her Spider-Woman in here.
It's not Spider-Girl or... Anyways, that just a thing. So
Did you see the trailer for the new Into the Spider-Verse 2?
No.
Oh, you haven't seen that? Oh my gosh.
I just saw... No, shoot, I don't even know that dropped. I did see not finally. I think I saw the Marvels trailer.
Yeah, I saw that yesterday because that just dropped.
Just dropped. When did the Spider-Verse thing drop? Shit, how the hell did I miss that?
A week and a half ago? A couple of weeks ago?
Shit.
Yeah, no. It came out and I got I got excited because, you were saying you didn't look up, you didn't pay that much attention to who the voices were in the first one. I knew exactly who was doing the voices. I knew everything I could possibly find out about that Spider-Verse movie before it came out.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I totally did. I still maintain it's the best comic book movie that's ever been made.
Yeah, man, it's
as a pure comic book movie, just because it's a cartoon, so it's got the same thing, and the way they did it was just incredible.
It was pretty good.
Really wish.
I mean, look, of course, everybody's got their own subjective taste, but it's up there. It's really good. That is a stop down movie. When I see that it's on, even if it's on TNT or commercial TV, I'm like, yeah. I can watch this because I just love. I did know his voice. The guy from My Girl plays the older slovenly Spider-Man. What's his name? You know what I'm talking about? He was on that movie with what's her face? A TV show. Not Chris Pine, who's a Peter Parker that dies. Yes. The other older Peter Parker.
Oh,
that gets pulled.
Yes. No. Yeah.
That comedic actor.
Just
he's so funny.
Yeah.
And just his delivery.
Jake
Johnson, Jake Johansson, something like that. Anyways.
Yeah. Yes. No, he's great. And he's back.
Good.
He is back and he has a daughter.
His delivery, for some reason, just cracks me. Oh, no,
he's incredible.
I was going somewhere with that.
Well, you're cruising the World Wide Web, Clicky.
Oh, sorry.
Good
Anyways,
Lord.
no, I'm just clicking through. Well, because I'm clicking.
Loudly.
I like the clicky click. I'm trying, gosh, what else? I was just trying to see if there was anything else to talk about, just so you know, about Spider-Gwen.
All right.
Because I feel like I'm forgetting something that I wanted to point out, and this is why I need to take notes, because I'll forget stuff that I'm going to think of afterwards, like, gosh darn it, why didn't I ask about this or talk about this, which is infuriating.
Oh, yeah, this is a screenshot that I loved. after she'd been found, Randy Robin, you're confused because Randy Robinson found her.
Okay.
And brought her in and brought her over to one of her bandmates' houses, and she's laying on the couch talking to the cat, and they're talking in the background. Just look at him, Jay. She's dressed like a homeless person. That's Mary Jane. No, that's not Mary Jane. It mustn't be, because the response was, I know, she looks awesome. I hate her so much. Gwen says, Randy, tell me he found me like this? And she says, oh, and Mary Jane goes, oh, poor, pitiful Gwen with her golden corn silk hair and sparkling lagoon blue eyes and her stupid, awesome sweatshirt.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's just absolutely frenemies. It's just, I can't stand you. You're gorgeous. I hate you.
Yeah.
So, and what's sad is, in this world, the man for both of them is dead because Peter is gone.
Yeah. Well, Mary Jane in this universe, not very likable.
Yeah.
You know?
Of course, we could also be seeing this Mary Jane from Gwen's eyes.
Yeah, true.
She's a driven musician. The leader of the band is not always a likable person.
Yeah. Bono. What? Huh? Whoa.
That's okay.
Where did that come from? Because I'm a big U2 fan. Or I guess I mean, it's not like I listen to them every morning when I wake up, because that'd be weird. And listen to It's a Beautiful Day.
So now I'm thinking that Hav listens to U2 every morning when he wakes up.
My alarm is It's a Beautiful Day by U2.
Oh, is it? Okay, there you go.
No, it's not. Although that, you know what?
See,
not a bad idea.
See?
Not a bad idea, actually.
See, now I'm thinking it is.
Now tomorrow morning it might very well be.
This is the thing. Everyone listening, please send us an email. Do you think Hav listens to U2 every morning when he wakes up?
That one song. It's a Beautiful Day.
No, I think you're nailing in on that because you just listen to a lot of U2 every morning.
I really, you know what? I don't. I should listen to more. I am really bad about doing deep dives on stuff where I'll get really into something. Now, not like just into comic books, but like I'll really get into X-Men comic books and read way too many X-Men comic books to the point where I'll read them solid for a month or 2 or 3, and then I'm done with them. I got really into the Beatles in high school, and by college, I was kind of done. But I was known as a guy that liked Beatles, so for years, I would still get Beatles stuff for gifts, and I was like, oh, thank you so much, I like that. And anybody that's listening that has gotten me Beatles stuff, I really do appreciate it. Whoops. But I just I don't put on Beatles stuff. Like, for the first time in a long time the other day, I put on Sgt. Pepper's.
Hav,
yeah.
If we take you out and get alcohol in you and we go do karaoke, you're going to sing like 6 Beatles songs. Yes or no?
You know what? That is not true. I don't do
3
karaoke Beatles songs.
3 Beatles songs?
Oh, okay. I don't.
Uh-huh.
I've sung one Beatles song one time. Sexy Sadie, James, and Jay were there.
Okay.
I think that's the only time. Otherwise, it's Piano Man as a go-to. Yoshimi, the Flaming Lips song. Yoshimi versus the Pink Robots. Is that the name of it? Anyways, I got some go-to karaoke songs.
So I feel like that's the first real tangent we've been on in this one.
We really didn't do a lot of tangents this time.
No, we've just been right on the comics. I mean, granted, we talked a lot of ancillary comics around the Gwenpool one, but that's just because it's background stuff, and I have a hobby horse that I will ride to death. So I feel like we should talk about something. I mean, the Fifth Circuit refused to stay the order to... I guess we don't want to talk about that. Anyway.
No, Yoshimi battles the Pink Robots, Flaming Lips. If you heard the song, you'd know exactly what it is.
I'm sure
it's
I
off
would.
Like their big album from the 90s or early 2000s.
We're all appreciative that you're not singing it right now.
No, I do not have any alcohol in me, so that will not be happening. Because it takes 3 or 4 beers to get me on the carry. But then once I'm up there, hang on tight. You're going to be prying that microphone in my dead hands. Anyways.
Challenge accepted.
No, you know what? I feel like, was it last time where I feel like we were like just shooting off tangents every 5 seconds?
Last time I don't think we ever talked about a comic.
Okay. Well, it happens.
And when I wrote the liner notes this evening, that's what it was about.
Just here's everything we did talk about besides comic books.
Hey, in this Thurling episode, the first thing I wrote was, in this Thurling episode, Hav and Charles talk about everything but the comics.
Yay!
And then I deleted that and wrote something else, but I was just like, all right.
It happens.
Yes.
No, do you have anything else you want to talk about the Gwen?
No, I will say it was funny because we recorded the last episode 2 weeks ago, almost to the day.
I think so.
And I suggested this one. And then when we finished recording, I sat down in my chair and I read this. I read the whole thing that night. Just I was done. And then it took me, I basically read the Hulk arc this morning.
Gotcha.
Because I was like, oh crap, we got to do it. I can't postpone this. So it was.
No.
I not that there's anything wrong with this. It was just the Hulk, but I pounded through it that quick, and I almost kept going. And I think I'm going to read, because I've read all of this already, but I think I'm going to read more of it because I like it. Except I'll pull it up on Marvel Unlimited.
Gotcha.
Because unlike you, I like Marvel Unlimited better for the way it works than I do.
I don't mind the app. You don't do it through a browser. You do the Hoopla app, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
Yes.
I guess I haven't used the Marvel app as much as maybe I should, or
that's fine.
Much as you have.
I've used it a ton. Not as much anymore as I used to, but man, I've read an enormous amount of comic books through that.
Gotcha.
So, all right.
Well, then, do you know what you're going to suggest for the next time?
No, I think I'll tell you in the next episode what you should read.
That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
That'll make that episode really fascinating. I am torn between 2 or 3 different things, but I think I know what I'm going to suggest to you.
Okay. Well, I would hope that you do know what you would suggest. Oh, I actually have a list. Right now there's two things on it.
The minimum number, ladies and gentlemen, for a list.
Actually, I think truly 3 is the minimum number. If you're making a list, you're technically supposed to have 3 things on it. So I do have a third one, but it's saved in my Hoopla thing. So technically, this list has 3 things on it. What I am going to suggest is a comic called The Good Asian.
Okay.
And I read it about a month and a half ago. I saw something about it, and I really liked it. It is surprisingly, it's very noir. It takes place in San Francisco in the, I believe, 20s, possibly 30s, or maybe after that. I can't remember exactly, but it's good. It is an Asian detective in San Francisco in the early 20th century.
Okay.
With all of that,
in the early 20th century.
Yes, the early 20th century. Yes.
Okay.
With all that entails in Chinatown. So
yeah.
It was really good. It's really good. Let me rephrase that. I really liked it. You might hate it. I know you don't like things that are different, so.
Okay.
What?
Okay. No, I don't know why you're just, that's fine. No, I fear change.
Yeah, but I haven't suggested any kind of noir stuff in a while, so.
No, it's been a second. No, I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, it's fun. What do you got?
I've been wanting to do this for a while, and I'm just going to pull the trigger. It's going to be Uncle Sam and the Freedom Fighters. It's a team book.
Of course,
it's not quite as old. It's not quite as old as what you're used to me suggesting. I'll send you the screenshot. It's on DC, so
1982,
1977. No, I want to say early 2000s.
Okay.
I want to say I got to find it. It was. Did I have it pulled up? Anyway, so yeah, that's what we're gonna read, and
okay.
I got the app for that.
Cool.
So there's that.
So it's not in Hoopla?
No.
Okay.
In fact, I was kind of a little disappointed. There was a lot of stuff that I would have thought maybe was on Hoopla.
Okay.
06, by the way.
Okay. Cool. No, okay. That sounds like a plan. And The Good Asian is on Hoopla. That's why I read it the first time. I'll screenshot that and send it to you.
Cool beans.
Yes. So I want to thank everyone who listened. We have a lot of fun doing this, and we appreciate all of you who listen to us, even the slack-jawed yokels.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. Charles, thanks for doing the podcast with me and all the heavy lifting on the production. And thank you, Patrick, for the website, as usual, and all that. That's I know you probably haven't done, well, who knows how much you do maintenance-wise. I have no idea how that works. It's magic to me. But thank you, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.